Top laner ready for an interview.
What made these games so different feeling? Oh, here we're going now. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for the toss. And yes, I am here with Darshan, the victorious top laner here of Counter Logic Gaming. A beautiful match right there against Cloud9. Somewhat of an unexpected win. They were above you in the standings. Talk to me about your thoughts coming into the match, your likeliness of beating C9 even.
I knew Cloud9 is a pretty tough opponent, but I think we've been getting better and better as the split goes on. And I knew if we played better as a team, we would come out on top. And that's what we did. We just kind of grouped, and we were constantly looking for plays and picks, and C9 wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, you guys really did play phenomenally. To talk about your improvement as a team, the very beginning weeks looked really bad for you guys. Like MSI was great, and the beginning summer split looked terrible, and you were in like relegation zone for a while. Now you're finally beating Cloud9 again, and you're in the top half of the standings. Looking back, what was it that finally had you guys get back to this level of play?
So whenever there's a meta shift, I feel like we have a pretty bad idea of what we want to play and what's good, like playing stuff like Jax and Aurelia and split pushers isn't always the best thing, Sometimes playing tanks is better, and it kind of was shifting between carries and tanks, and we weren't sure where our place was for every champ, so that was kind of hard for us coming back after having a break as well. So it was kind of just ramping back up, and I think the competition in LCS has definitely been getting a lot better. I think the region is probably one of the stronger regions in the world right now, and I think that's why it's also been harder, because the teams are just getting better. So I think we're definitely leveling up our play towards the end of the split, but I just think the competition is getting harder, so we just have to get better or we're just going to lose.
And of course, you did pick up the win there, so you guys are improving steadily. That's nice to see. You talked about your own champion play. The Gnar and the Hecarim, you're kind of finding like half carries, half tanks to play, which has been interesting to see as you sort of improve as a player. I want to ask you a more personal question. A few weeks ago, an interview came out where you said that you had found that your old teammates, they were changing their perception around players based on like what internet communities were saying about them. The new hotness, by the way, is people are calling you a koala. Are you aware of this, and how do you respond?
Yeah, I've heard about the koala thing a little bit. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I want to see people make the coolest koala meme they can of me, I hear people taking it pretty far with the koala stuff. I haven't really looked on Reddit, but I think it's pretty funny that I don't know, I'm a meme. I guess, I don't know. It's just it's a bad and good feeling, because it's oh, I'm a meme. That kind of sucks, but at least, I'm a koala. It's not that bad.
One of the better memes, to be a koala, I think, is one of the better things you could be called, absolutely. Better than boosted or anything else.
Oh, yeah. Definitely agree with that. I'd rather be called a koala than boosted, so I think that's a step up.
I would say it's a substantial step up. Okay, so 7-7 now. These top teams are now within reach of you. C9's only at 8, Liquid right now at 8 as well. You can get into that sort of 3rd, 4th range as well. You have 4 matches left to go. What's the near future for CLG, and then how far is the playoff run going to go?
So it's just about us improving as much as possible. I've definitely seen us getting a lot better as a team. And at the beginning, we were just looking pretty terrible. But right now, we're definitely looking better and better. Our wins are getting cleaner. And I think that's just what we need to look for, is playing as perfect as possible, playing as well as a team as possible. And I think it's just about keeping that focus and keeping that goal of just improving constantly every day. And I feel like we've been striving towards that. So just keeping that going. And I think it's going to be a really tough road for playoffs, but I definitely think we're going to make it there. And then it'll be some great sets.
And maybe we'll see you at World Star. Sean, thank you very much. Congratulations on a wonderful victory. Now I'll toss it over to the analysts.
Thank you very much, Freak CLG, picking up the victory over Cloud9 in this 3rd game. What was one-sided game 1 for CLG, one-sided game 2 for C9 in a sense. We moved to game 3. Much slower start, slower pace for the earlier portions of the game. But throughout, we started to notice that CLG looked to have much better command of the macro game, as well as just their shot calling.
They're known for exceptional late game, mid game shot calling, but Cloud9 just looked completely lost. Against a team that has really strong shot calling, you'd expect them to maybe make the same play but a lot slower and not just make 0 plays. We're wondering, how did they get Minter? They probably just could we have it? Okay, we have it. Could we get your inhibitor? It's yeah.
Sure, you can have that one too.
Yeah, you can have that too.
I mean, it's one thing to have that happen from behind, but from ahead, it's so sad, because they were up 3-1. They had gotten kills in a couple different places, and then next thing you know, it's CLG has a gold lead and they have a ton of pressure everywhere with them not getting any kills.
Exactly. That's why it was so odd, because for the first 20 minutes, we saw that trade 1-for-1 in the mid lane pretty early on. We then saw Trundle make a nice gank towards mid lane, help Jensen get back into it. We're watching Meteos control the blue buff a little bit on the other side. But CLG's also making their fair share of moves to kind of keep themselves in the game. So all seems well. We're set up for a very competitive late game where we're going to assume it's going to come down to some sweet 5v5 team fights. 21 minutes into the game, CLG, their first big macro move, moving up to the top side here, gonna get a 1 for 0 plus a turret. Meanwhile, where's C9? Not in position to respond to these moves from CLG.
Well, the big thing was that CLG was actually controlling this topside jungle for like over a minute because they just took the mid inner turret, and now they rotate up to the top side. They catch out Sneaky. They're able to blow him up. They just barely missed the kill on the Smoothie, but they're able to finish off this turret as well. And they've basically created about a 2 to 3K gold lead, really off nothing but vision control in the topside jungle and rotating between lanes.
All right, so then you fast forward a little bit to what you were talking about, this inhib. I don't know what to gift. I don't even know how to explain this situation because you've got Cloud9, Impact, split pushing the top lane. Okay, that's fine. He's got teleport, but Meteos around the Baron pit while CLG is pushing the top side lane and there's no defense mounted by Cloud9.
It gets started from a pick onto the Braum, and then immediately you'd expect, all right, you guys got to go defend your turret before they get there, but they just don't think about it, I guess. I'm not sure what is going on here. And today and yesterday, they did look a little distraught in their laning, early phases. A lot of times during the game, especially yesterday's games, must have been massively stressful. But to let it affect this, we can't really know for sure. But this is just not, you know, this looks like an Echo Fox move.
Right. I mean, it looked like they had a small idea of like, okay, we'll lose the inhib turret, but then we'll like collapse on them from behind with Meteos. But then like Sneaky just shoots his arrow out before Impact's TPing in or anything, and it's just very, very disjointed. On top of the fact you can question the intelligence of the call overall, it didn't seem like a great idea from the beginning, let alone the execution. It was like, whoa.
I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt as the play developed, but then it became clear at a point that they didn't actually know what they were doing. They're going to be able to review that game footage, and hopefully they'll come out stronger for it on the flip side, which is having learned something. But this is good to see from CLG, right? Again, another game where they are actually employing their macro ability to get themselves the advantages. I want to go ahead and jump into the game-winning fight, 33 minutes into the game here. So as that comes up, we'll walk through it. Around the Baron, though, because they did force this multiple times.
Right, so they pick up the Baron, they get the Bardal onto Smoothie, and this is kind of a sack him situation, you would think, but they kind of hang around, which lets Jensen get picked off. Impact walks in trying to melee the Gnar. He gets CC'd now, and the CLG swaps onto him. And I think this all started off a pick as well, so it's just been a long series of slowly giving away things, give away Baron, a couple kills, and it just keeps getting worse from there.
It's like a great Christmas gift where you just get, oh, look, everybody's giving me things.
Right, and it's just, the game's basically over from this point. I mean, no one left, inhib down, topside, just meet up with the wave. It just syncs so perfectly together.
And that's kind of the sad part. If they had originally reacted faster to this initial defend on the top turret, CLG probably doesn't win off of this fight, right? Because they're going to have to eat through more defenses to get to the victory. So C9 maybe has another fight in them to get back into the game.
Well, I think one thing that CLG really did this game was put a lot of attention onto Sneaky, especially after the laning phase. They just constantly are looking for ways to shut down Sneaky because you know that Meteos is not a carry jungler, and you know that Impact is not a carry champion. So if you only have to worry about Jensen, who's playing these carries that don't necessarily dish out as much damage as, say, an Ashe that goes untouched is, as easy as it is to zone out a Cassiopeia, then it becomes so much easier. And we've seen time and time again Sneaky being so pivotal for his team that if you just keep him out of every fight, it seems like C9 just doesn't have any other options.
All right, well, as we're speaking about this, Cloud9 lost to CLG in Game 3. We're welcoming our audience from NALCS 2 and Apex's initial victory over Envy in what was a very interesting game. We'll dive into that in just a moment. I want to close this out here, though, with player of the game going to Huhi, a man who was kind of instrumental in shutting down both Jensen and Sneaky. We saw, you know, throughout the early and mid game having some effect on Jensen, and as you mentioned, a lot of focus in the team fights, making sure to zero out Sneaky, zone him with the ultimate.
Right, a very important part too is the draft, where Cassio been rising in priority and then ends up being first picked by C9 here, and Huhi says, no problem, I'll take the Victor into it, we'll be fine, I'll be safe mid lane, even though he died once early. He was still fine after that. They weren't able to get his mid turret. CLG actually picked up C9's mid turret first, and it all kind of was off the back of Huhi being totally fine in lane and then being a huge threat in team fights.
All right, well, CLG picking up a match victory to close out their weekend. For those of you on NALCS 1, we're going to be sending you to a commercial break. Stay with us for the match between Liquid and TSM coming right up. NALCS 2, stay right here. We're breaking down your match. Now, gentlemen, talk about this match, Apex versus Envy.
Now, as they have gone the distance to a game number 3. That's a flash ball. Xmithie going to flash after him for the Umbara. Meteos is already there. Xmithie, though, is going to go down as well.
I'm looking down. Ezra. Hey, Ezra. Exhausting as well.
Hey, big two. Watch A. Back up. You see Trundle coming through?
Trundle.
I stun him.
I'm gonna go in and Trundle.
Nice. Back.
Do not go in the Trundle.
I might stun cast.
Careful.
I got cast.
I'm on cast.
I slowed cast.
I'm on Trundle.
Nice.
job.
Trundle. I'm coming.
CLG will take it 2-1.
CLG pick up a much-needed win versus a top-placing team.